All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, I wanted to ask the question, do you think the Jets are done adding free agents at this point in time? You know, it is late May, and we're looking at the Jets roster, and I think we could all agree Joe Douglas completely knocked out of the park in both free agency and the draft, addressing major positions of need, adding major talent to those major positions of need. Just awesome stuff. Just, you know, Jets fans all across the world are totally excited. Cannot wait for training camp and preseason, all that good stuff. But it's still not a perfect roster. It's not fully complete. We still lack some talent in certain areas. We still lack some depth in certain areas. And of course, it is unfair to, you know, ask a general manager, you know, fix a bottom five team in football in one off season. Of course, you know, multiple first round picks, multiple seconds, you know, had a lot of cap space. You can make some major changes there, but you can't just, you know, completely overhaul it, completely flip it. So it is understandable that we are going to have maybe a couple weak spots, but with that said, the Jets have flirted with a couple available free agents, right? Guys like Kwon Alexander, Larry Ogunjobi, both guys I think would come in and be instant upgrades over pretty much everybody that we have on the current roster. Both guys would be coming in, coming off really good seasons with, you know, their respective teams, the Cincinnati Bengals and the New Orleans Saints. Both players would fit the system and the culture, which I think is really important, but it's kind of weird because the Kwon Alexander workout came before the draft, and since then we haven't had a single update surrounding Alexander. Larry Ogunjobi, that news broke just, it was just, I think, late in the day, around like 4 or 5 o'clock, just out of left field. Adam Schefter just randomly tweets out, hey, Larry Ogunjobi, you know, he's been meeting with the Jets in consecutive days here. I thought maybe something was going to get done, but it just seems like everything is cooled with the free agents. And I get that the Jets probably aren't the only team out there that has interest in both of these players here, but yeah, for me personally, I look at both of those guys, I think they would come in and be major upgrades at the end of the day. Okay, so another guy that's kind of floating out there, Jaquiski Tartt, former 49er, a guy who has dealt with injuries, but he's been productive, right? As that roaming free safety back there, he could come up and make tackles. I think he's I think he's still a really good player. I'm not saying he's a top 5 or a top 10 safety, but I definitely feel like he's an upgrade over what we currently have in the deep parts of the field. Quick little side note: Jason Pinnock was actually in the starting lineups. You know, take it how you want, but Jason Pinnock was starting at safety at the start of OTAs, which I thought was, you know, pretty interesting. Of course, it's only voluntary OTAs, but still something that I feel like is worth mentioning at this point. But look, Jaquiski Tartt, ton of wins under his belt, has playing experience with Robert Saleh, fits exactly, you know, he fits this system. Of course, he knows the system here. I think cheap. Okay, and because he has dealt with injuries, because he has missed some time here and there, you know, again, I don't think he's going to cost, you know, $4-5 million, nothing like that. And, you know, I really feel like if the Jets offer out a contract, 1 year $2 million, 1 year $3 million, that would easily get the job done. And I think it would, you know, to have a veteran leader in the back part of the defense would be huge. It would be huge for this Jets defense that, you know, quite frankly, was ripped apart last season. Back-to-back weeks, veteran quarterbacks, young quarterbacks. I mean, it was the league's worst defense. Okay, so we got to make sure that we shore up our weak spots. And if there's an opportunity to upgrade at a specific position that only costs $2 million, $3 million, I would be about it. Okay, now we do look at the Jets cap space. We're sitting roughly $6 to $8 million. It just depends on really where you look. But that's enough. That's enough to, you know, bring it up. And by the way, this is before cuts as well, you know, before a potential trade. So, you know, you're looking at that number. That's enough money to bring one of these guys in. But if I had to take a guess, I would say that the Jets would probably opt to bring in a free agent if they want to sign one of these guys after June 1st. Okay, because June 1st is that date where teams can go ahead and release certain guys and contract implications, cap situations change depending on the post and pre June 1st cut or trade. Okay, so a guy that just instantly stands out, Deion Jones. There's been multiple reports that he's probably not going to be an Atlanta Falcon for that much longer, and that's another guy that would come in, fit the system, has experience working with Jeff Ulbrich, although not coming off the best season. To have a guy like Deion Jones, to have a guy with that upside, a guy who is still in his 20s here, a guy who has been productive, I do think it's worth a shot, to bring him in just to see what he has. Of course, all dependent on what he's asking for, obviously. But, the point is, there's going to be some talent that might be released post June 1st, and I think that's where the Jets will strike, because they're just going to scan the market. And then, hey, because you never know, maybe a linebacker gets released that they like more than Kwon Alexander, and they work out something with him. So anyway, that's just my kind of take on it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you think the Jets are done adding free agents? And hey, maybe they are. Maybe they aren't really thinking about adding a guy in Ogunjobi or Alexander or Tart or whoever it may be. Maybe they're just completely fine with the young guys on the roster. We saw that last year. There was so much talent, this late into the process and free agency and whatnot, and the Jets just, they stuck to their guns with wanting to roll with the young players. So it could very well happen again. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.